Hello and welcome to the MVP show. Today I have on the show Renato, all the way from Croatia, one of my favorite countries. I spent a lot of time in Croatia when I was traveling Europe. Absolutely amazing place. He's a NAV guru, NAV guru, a Business Central, and has now got into the whole area of Dynamics 365 finance. Interesting journey. I love that he, started pretty much from college in the Microsoft ecosystem. Anyhow, I'll let him tell his story. Full show notes can be found at nz365guy.com/217. Now let's get on with the show. Renato, welcome to the MVP show.
Hi, Mark. Thank you for having me on the call. How are you?
It's good, very good, very good. It's a great day here. Whereabouts in the world are you located?
Right now, I'm located in Zagreb, in Croatia. It's 1 minute until midnight. So,
wow, it's late in the day.
yes, late in the day. I will ending the day with MVP show with you.
Very good, very good. Zagreb is a beautiful city, and I especially like the Christmas markets. It's famous for it, isn't it?
Yes, I think that we won 4 or 5 times the award for the best Christmas, I think, in the Europe or in the world.
Last time I was in Zagreb, I had to, I was about to take a cruise on a ship. It was, I was cruising from the United Kingdom through to New York, and I needed a dinner suit. And so my only dinner suit it comes from Zagreb. I bought it in Zagreb.
Oh, really? That's
yeah.
Nice memory of Zagreb.
Yeah. And it was actually there that we were walking down the street at the Christmas markets, and my wife said to me that she was going to write a book and she was going to publish it. We would have been there in December because of the Christmas markets, and her goal was to publish by March. So within 3 months, she had of making that decision in Zagreb, she had written the book and published it on Amazon. So pretty impressive. And so Zagreb holds good memories for me and my wife.
So I am inviting you to come again to Zagreb and to Croatia.
Yeah. So do you know, I don't know if you know this, but Croatia has a lot of strong ties to New Zealand, where I currently live.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. A lot of Croatians about, I don't know, maybe 40, 50 years ago, even longer, in the last 100 years, immigrated to New Zealand, and a lot of the vineyards here are all were either started by Croatians or are currently owned by Croatian families.
Oh, really didn't know that. But we Croatia are famous about the wines, especially the Istria part and this north part.
Yeah. So Jokovic, even in my area right here, is a very common name. And a lot of the businesses, and particularly in the northern part of New Zealand, a lot of the businesses are still owned by Croatian people. So a lot came from there a long time ago. Tell me about what you do. What kind of technology do you specialize in with Microsoft?
Well, I started to specialize with Dynamics NAV, so with the ERP. And now, what was my goal and what was my, let's say, normal path is to go to Dynamics 365 Business Central, and this is what I specialize inside the business applications area. And this was up until this month when I switched my job, and now I work with Dynamics 365 Finance. And working with this tool. So I will see what future will bring to me, which another tool.
Okay, so I'm interested to know how different was Dynamics NAV, Dynamics Business Central, and now Dynamics Finance you're working with. How hard was it for you to transition your skills across those products?
Well, I work as a consultant, so transitions from Dynamics NAV to Dynamics 365 Business Central was very easy and pretty easy for me, because from the very beginning, when Dynamics 365 Business Central was published, I was kind of in a mood to learn this new tool and to transfer my knowledge from Dynamics Navision to Dynamics 365 Business Central. When we are speaking about the clients and how they are transforming their business, I mean, Dynamics NAV, we developed a lot of functionalities which are part of the standard, let's say, functional NAV. Right now in Business Central, we can only, we can do also that kind of developing, but it is not recommended. So right now we are switching our mindset to develop something on top of standard Dynamics 365 Business Central. And with Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations, what we are now struggling is that we don't want to do as much customization as we want in these two systems, because it's very hard to customize Dynamics 365 Finance, for example. It's not that easy as BC or NAV.
Right. Interesting to know. But I also see that you're doing a lot with Power Automate and PowerApps. What's that been like for you? What's your journey and kind of what are you doing specifically in those areas?
Well, in those, my journey in this Power Platform starts with I want to automate and send an email every day at certain time. For example, enter your working hours inside the system, and that's how I started with how to learn the flow and learn some other things. And also then what I see when you have Dynamics NAV, for example, that sometimes you want to create some reports, and then I started to use Power BI, which is a very great tool for me, and that's how I then come to PowerApps and integration of all these three tools between each other. So, but together with Dynamics 365 Business Central, with Dynamics 365 Finance or Dynamics NAV. So this was my journey to start with the PowerApps. Right now, I am doing some another things. For example, I try to move some processes from, for example, ERP to the PowerApps, and then just send the data, finish data to Dynamics 365 Finance. For example, travel orders are a great example when I have mobile application for the travel orders, and then later when the travel order is approved, the data is sent to the Business Central or Dynamics 365 Finance.
Yeah, I like it. That's so cool to see it practically all coming together. Tell me, how did you start your career in this Dynamics suite of products? How did it all begin for you?
Well, it all began, I think, in 2011. So I was the student on my third year, I think. And at that moment, I was looking for what I can do after the college. And I didn't want to be a developer. So I saw an opportunity to become a Microsoft student partner. So it's a student union at our university. And I see, okay, as a Microsoft student partner, which is a global group of on-campus ambassadors who are eager to help fellow students and lead in their local tech community, I would like to see what are the opportunities from the Microsoft side for me. And at that time, I met also a lot of MVPs who are right now also MVPs. And I started to work with the CRM, so the Dynamics CRM. And indeed, at that time, I think it was CRM 2011.
Yes, I remember it.
Yes, and I still have the book, but it is only for my monitors.
What book was it? What specifically was the book?
It was, I think, it is. I mean, I think I see it. It is Unleashed Dynamics CRM 2011. I think 500 pages.
Wow, who's the author? Can you see who the author is?
Just a second. Volenik, Sinai, and someone else. I don't see this.
Was it? Did you say Mark Wolnick?
Just a second. I'll take it. Yes, Mark Volenik,
Yeah.
Daniel Sinai, and Rajai Hai.
Wow.
Haya.
So good. Excellent. Some of those names I recognize. All right.
Yes, and then I started with CRM project.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say this was the milestone where I decided that I want to work with Dynamics because I really like the environment and all this ecosystem. And I had some pilot project for Microsoft Innovation Center, where with my colleagues, I started a project of using CRM to organizing an events, to create some campaigns, and so on. And then in 2 years later, in 2013, I started my blog with sharing Microsoft and partner news and some interesting things what are happening inside my area, and also some nice features about the CRM. And this is how I started my journey with all this Dynamics world. And later that year, as a Microsoft partner, I got the opportunity to get inside on one of, for me, new product called in that time Dynamics NAV. And this is how I started. And then 1 year later, in 2014, I got the internship in the biggest Dynamics ERP partner in Adriatic region called Adacta. And there I started as actually a junior ERP developer, because then I realized, okay, it is not bad to have some background knowledge of how system works. And in that moment, I fell in love with Dynamics NAV. Yeah. And then how my learning curve was very, very high, I decided to continue my blog and to write my blog post. And this blog post was more or less a note or reminder to myself how to configure something. So, for example, how to configure services and all this stuff in Dynamics NAV. And I was not a regular, and I wrote just some basic stuff as a reminder for me. Yes, and this is how my Dynamics NAV stories started.
Wow. This is so cool. So, you know, and your blog post is covering so many subjects, whether it's Dynamics NAV, Dynamics CRM, I can see, Business Central, Office, all a great, you know, broad offering. I noticed that you're also a Microsoft certified trainer. How did you go about becoming a MCT?
Okay, well, what was one of the benefit of MVP program is that I met a lot of new people in the community, and in that time I met the guys from the company Platan from the Belgium, Steven Renders and Cohen Stocks, and I saw on their website that they need trainers. So and I started to do trainings for them, and I was just surfing on the internet, searching something, and I see that you can become a Microsoft certified trainer. And then I take a look what are the requirements, and I see that you need to be certified in some area, and then you just need to confirm that you had enough hours of trainings held, and this is what I saw the opportunity to certify and to certify my skills as a trainer and as a person who is expert in some area.
I like it. And have you used those since becoming an MCT? Have you done additional training, and what's the main area you train people on?
Yes, from that moment I continued my trainings. I still work as a trainer for Platan, so for this education company, and we provide the Dynamics 365 Business Central. I mean, I provide Dynamics 365 Business Central functional trainings for them, and also we wrote some blogs, articles, and so on for the Microsoft. So I continue to work with in this area.
Sounds good. So so that's interesting about becoming a trainer. And I know it's like paid work. How is that different? You know, how did you end up becoming an MVP, and kind of who nominated you, and how do you find the program?
Who nominated me? I can't remember, but how I heard about the program. So as I mentioned, when I was the Microsoft student partner, I closely worked with MVPs on my projects and to establish some projects and some things. And then I asked them what is the MVP, what is the status, how you get them, and then they describe everything for me. And okay, I said I will start with helping community with writing my blog post. And one day I published a blog post about Power BI and Dynamics NAV. And one of my colleagues from Adapta told me that the one guy from the Microsoft on his presentation webinar pointed to my blog post about Power BI and Dynamics NAV. And for me, that was yes. And for me, that was wow. And I was not aware that it was my blog post. And then he sent me later the screenshot. And I was saying, "Oh, you're joking with me." And he said, no, it was your blog post. And then I really noticed that someone is really reading my blog. And I say, if someone from Microsoft point to my blog, it means that it has some future and potential. And that I started to be more involved in community, such as participating in the events. I started to go to the conferences, doing trainings with ex-MVP Alexander Totovic, and participating in forums and try to write my blog posts more often and so on. And then I think, I know on 1st of October, I returned from my home, from my work to the home, and I just went to the trash can. And when I returned to my apartment, I saw from the door that I have some email in my Outlook, and it was the email from MVP administrator. And when I saw that, it was just I knew what is it. It was like I was reborn. And then when you see the first sentence that say that congratulations, it was like I conquered the Mount Everest. And then from I started to think, wow, now when I'm an MVP, what I must do to still have this status. And I mean, it is not just 1 year job. I want to be an MVP as much as I'm in this technology. And now I start to increase my knowledge with this Power Platform and all other stuff and how to work with this. And of course, my participation in Dynamics community is my primary role, let's say.
Wow, that's so interesting, and it's so I can hear the excitement in your voice around going on that journey. Now that you're in the program, what are your thoughts?
I think it is the good program, and that the biggest value of MVP is opportunity to meet people with the same interests, same struggles, to interact with the product groups, and to speak at a conference which only have speakers which are MVPs or some really deep dive technical persons, which is for me very big, I say, value. About MVP program, I think there is a lot of very good guys, and I'm very happy when I can see some new video about PowerApps, and I can see some new video about Power Automate and so on. Yes, I think that we have a really big database of experts in the MVP programs.
That's so good. That's so good. Well, it's been interesting hearing your journey. Any advice to other people wanting to become an MVP?
Well, what I will advise is to not gain the MVP status. MVP status will come sooner or later. Someone will recognize your work and someone will nominate you as an MVP. So, I mean, MVP is just a cherry on the top of the cake. And I think the most important thing is that you are a good guy and that you help the community to participate in the community and to solve the issues which others are struggling.
It's been good talking to you. And before we go, I would like to ask you a few random questions. Are you ready for some random questions? These I pick them randomly. I've only just picked them right now as I'm talking to you. Are you ready for them?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. Would you rather have a cook or a maid?
Cook.
Okay. What was the last foreign country you visited?
It was the Germany.
Okay. What was the very first job that somebody paid you for?
It was my first job as a junior ERP consultant.
Okay. What's the best date you've ever been on?
Best?
Best date.
Best date.
Yeah. Like what was it? Did you go somewhere particular? What was the best date you've been on?
The best day is to be the 1st of October when I become an MVP.
Okay. What are the 3 biggest events in your life that kind of changed your life?
That changed my life. Finished college.
Mm-hmm.
Then, for example, of course, the day when I born, and and the day when I met my friends.
I love it. If you could visit any place in the world, where would you choose?
I was thinking about it, and I think it will be New Zealand, Australia, and some
nice.
far away.
Nice. I like it. Renato, it's been great to have you on the show. Before you go, if people want to follow you online, where can they find you?
Well, I would suggest that they can find me on the LinkedIn, on the Twitter, or on my website. This is the best way. How can they reach me?
Hey, thanks for listening. Hope you've enjoyed it and learning about Renato's story. Full show notes can be found at nz365guy.com/217. See you next Tuesday.